the issue or the topic of discussion. So, today's topic of sharing and caring is self-leadership for academic performance. And traditionally, when we have to choose a topic for discussion, as academics, the first thing that comes to mind is, what's the problem with academic performance? Because if there is no problem, then there will be no need to address the issue. And each time we pick up the courage or we venture into the field of research to study any phenomenon, basically we are trying to address the problem. So, introduction and background. Leaders in the education industry need to recognize that academic performance is an essential tool for a learner's sustainable future. And a learner's performance basically determines their academic achievement. An academic achievement of learners in general basically determine the sustainability of a nation or the national development of any country. And therefore, it is important for us to realize that academic performance is of immense value to sustainability. Self-leadership strategies significantly impact self-efficacy ratings, and self-efficacy directly affects performance. Now keep in mind that intrinsic and extrinsic factors contribute to low academic performance. For instance, a basic fundamental extrinsic factor here is the COVID-19 pandemic, where schools were shut down. And from research results or research studies, we understand that face-to-face interaction is the highest yield in terms of productivity or results. Yes, it is true that when we embark on a study online, or even say, for instance, you're conducting a research and you have to meet the participants or the human persons. If you meet them in person, the result may be different, because then the exchange or the rapport will completely be different. So it is a similar thing that when we embark on learning and teaching in a face-to-face setting, the result is always greater. And so the extrinsic factor of a pandemic like the COVID basically is a contributing factor to low academic performance. And so we have a problem, and that basically creates rationality for a study on performance. The researcher sonographically or diagnostically explored self-leadership for academic performance. Definition of concepts. Self-leadership is an individual's ability or capability to influence themselves. This reference is taken from Mars, 1983, and improve their performance through self-regulation. And self-regulation comprises of the processes of cognition, motivation, and behavioral strategies. Self-control is the ability to align cognition, emotions, and actions with cherished goals in the face of a fleetingly more appealing option that provides immediate gratification of the senses. In other words, self-control ultimately boils down to the fact that we become expert in delayed sense gratificatory pursuits. We know this is going to give me, in America we call it quick fix. A quick fix, for instance, for a student may not be the best thing for their academic productivity. So if we are able to identify the quick fixes and we deny becoming involved in those quick fixes, which gives us just some temporary satisfaction, that basically implies that we are embarking on self-control. And self-control has to do with the sensory modalities and including the mind. Academic performance is the outcome of learning that is generated by the learner, driven by the teacher's art of teaching. And social change is the augmentation of human and social conditions by supporting individuals, communities, organizations, and families. Sonic therapeutic intervention involves recapitulatory self-administration of specific transcendental sound vibrations that facilitate a positive change. The purpose of the study. This study is grounded in Elgar's 2007 academic performance and Menzies' 2015 1986 self-leadership frameworks. The purpose of this study is to diagnostically explore self-leadership for high academic performance. In fact, when we talk about self-leadership, people, they rush in to take up positions. The people, we find how they're making so much of campaign to become the president of the United States or to become the prime minister of India. So these external leadership positions could be easily facilitated and enhanced when one is situated in self-leadership, because self-leadership is the fulcrum or the foundation of all other types of leadership. So Elgar's 2007 core components of performance are identity, learning skills, knowledge acquisition, context, personal, and fixed factors. Elgar's theory provides a basis for performance analysis and criteria definition and development of meaningful performance measures. Performance basically can be quantified too. I mean, it's like when there is low productivity in an industry, we understand that the performance is low. And when there is high productivity, we understand also that the performance is pretty appreciative or is high. In a similar sense, when performance of a school or an institution is high, it means that students, the learners, have been able to attain high grades, and these high grades facilitate their overall academic achievement. Elgar's theory basically makes provisions for performance analysis, criteria definition, and development of meaningful performance measures. Research question. Whenever we want to conduct a study or want to conduct the research, it behooves us to be able to have a fundamental question or an overarching question about what we want to search in the literature for, or what we want to investigate. The basis of our investigation in this very study is, how does self-leadership help learners to attain high performance? Methodology and design or approach. We have different methodologies in conducting research, And specifically in the management sciences, we have three major methodologies. And one of them is the qualitative method. Second is the quantitative method. And the third is the mixed methods. Mixed method is an integration of the quantitative and qualitative methodologies. And this study used the qualitative method. Data was generated inductively through document analysis. The key words for this research, for this study, are high self-control, mental health, internet addiction, self-leadership learning, sonic therapeutic intervention. Sonic therapeutic intervention, here in this very research, we are referring to the use of sound vibrations to be able to create or to ameliorate a deteriorating situation. Now, in the Indian subcontinent, it is very common the use of sound vibrations to be able to create a positive change. Sages of yore will find in the Vedic literature how they could use sound to be able to create some transformation. People become completely transformed by repeatedly chanting mantras, and in that way they create an ideal situation for themselves, for their communities, and for the nation. This is the one distinct feature of the Indian subcontinent, because these things are not really regularly being practiced in other countries. So sonic therapeutic intervention is a cluster of mantras that are used for generating positive change or for influencing oneself for a better outcome. And the specific sound vibration that we use in this very research is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which constitutes 32 syllables. And it's been experimented by researchers that this very Maha Mantra helps or has a significant positive effect on depression, has a significant positive effect on anxiety and stress. I also conduct a research just last year that I had presented at the World Academy of Science, Engineering and Technology Conference in London, and the research basically brought to bear how the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra facilitates a lot of positive effects on the human condition. And one of them is high self-control. And basically, we understand from criminology literature that one of the major factors affecting human society, not only in the field of crime, but also in the field of social behavior, is low self-control. And the general theory of crime, amazingly, a general theory of crime hinges on the idea that when there is high crime rate or mundane behavior, antisocial behavior, it is due to the fact that people are evolving in low self-control. And so, that noted, or having said that, let's understand the data collection, method, and analysis of this very study. Document review facilitated data collection, databases utilized for the search, business source complete through Premier, EBSCO, Elsevier, Emerald, Google Scholar, Ingenta, ProQuest, PubMed, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, and Toria database. After generating the themes of this very study, we analyzed it. And basically here are the results. The self-leadership, which is the foundation of, again, I would like to stress this, is the foundation of our social life, our academic perfection, and our political stability. This self-leadership enables people to have focused and sustained concentration. And this is a fundamental principle in learning. Students need to concentrate, they need to focus on their studies. But, the mind is so much like a big disturbance. And sometimes you find a student sitting down reading, or in the class, the professor is delivering a lecture, and physically the body is there, but there's no concentration. There's no focus on what is going on. So the mind is not in the class. And therefore, when people try to evolve in their self-leadership propensities, they practice how to influence themselves, to be able to grow, then they can really have a positive effect on society, and even, especially for the students, they will have a lot to gain by dint of upgraded status in terms of high grades, etc. So, self-leadership enhances or facilitates focused and sustained concentration. Effective recall. Now, when we read, to read is one thing, and to be able to utilize what we have read, to recall what we have read, to be able to use that appropriately, that is another problem. Therefore, we'll find students may read so much, but then also the reading, there in some cases there is no regulatory reading, it is not regulated. Sometimes we think by reading, all through the night, then we are making progress in our study. But we also need, we need the body is like a machine. We need the body to also take sufficient rest. And therefore, if we have a balance in the rest system and the abusive system, then the recall could be facilitated. And self-leadership facilitates recall because it allows you to be able to do the things that are necessary to keep body and soul together. And therefore, the concept of recess or the phenomenon of recess becomes easier to be able to achieve when you needed to remember or to cogitate or to bring out what you've already read and utilize it in practical terms. High self-control. Self-leadership also facilitates high self-control. And high self-control, I'll give practical example. I've also noticed, I've seen some cases on campus where students, they are always carrying their telephone. And even when they are in a class listening to a lecture, they are with the telephone, that the telephone is buzzing. It might be on vibration, but it's a cause of distraction. And the noise is distracting them from concentration or from focusing on what the professor is delivering. But because of low self-control, they're not able to deal with this situation. And therefore, if we cultivate self-leadership, if we are able to cultivate self-influence, to influence ourselves positively, to be able to lead ourselves, because the self could be defined in two ways. Grossly, in a mode of passion, the self is defined as the whole physique or the whole physical body. Whereas, in a mode of goodness, the self refers to the spirit soul. And the spirit soul is part and parcel of the absolute truth. And except we identify ourselves as spirit soul, it becomes so difficult to not yield to the dictates of the mind and the sensory modalities. Because we may be thinking that the mind, we are the mind, and so the mind is giving us some instruction. The mind is dictating to us. You carry your phone all the time. You're going to the class, you carry your phone. You're going to the toilet, you carry your phone. And so we begin to worship the telephone like a deity. But this causes a lot of distraction. Therefore, if we are situated in self-leadership, we can positively influence ourselves to overcome the negativities of the material existence in terms of those distractions that take us away, that take our time away from our genuine intentions of achieving what we needed to achieve. Peace of mind is the self-leader is at peace with his mind. It's at peace with his body. It's at peace with the environment because he is not easily carried away by external or internal factors. So he has a peace of mind. And if we don't have a peace of mind, we cannot champion any cause for global peace. Because we cannot give what we don't have. And if we are not able to lead ourselves, we can't lead our families. We cannot lead our communities. We cannot lead our institutions effectively for high productivity. And so, self-leadership is so important in our daily lives. Now, so that I don't forget, before males developed the self-leadership theory, Charles Mays is the first professor who talked about or who generated the idea or the concept or construct of self-leadership in Western countries. But prior to that, over 500 years ago, an Indian scholar, a Vedic scholar, his name is Rupa Goswami, he had hinted on self-leadership. He mentions in his very valuable literature, very valuable publication called Upadhyamrita, or the Nectar of Instructions. That book is containing instructions for daily life, for social development, for spiritual awareness, and for community development. So in his first sloka, he mentions Vacho Vegam, Manasa Kroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udaro Pasta Vegam, Etam Vegam Yo Visahita Diram, Sarvam Apimam, Pritivim Sasishal. Vacho Vegam means the urge to speak hogwash. And speaking hogwash is what could create so much of disharmony, even in families, even in our communities. Imagine your husband or your wife says something really nasty about you. That is a hogwash. How do you react to that? Or how do you proact to that? Except you are a self-leader, then you could be proactive about it. But if you are not situated in self-leadership, you will be reactive and it will result to crisis. Manasa Kroda Vega. Manasa, the urges of the mind and anger, Kroda. Jiva Vega, the tongue is pushing us. We want to taste that, when this, that. So our tongue is not satisfied. It's always willing to taste anything and everything. And what about the genitals? People know they shouldn't do this. And I've seen this in America. A number of people have gone to jail. A number of teachers have gone to jail. A number of political elites have lost their jobs. A number of political elites have gone to jail. Why? Because of the genitals. In fact, not long ago, the International Monetary Fund director, he went to jail. He lost his job. He went to jail because of not being able to control the sex appetite. So we can understand that these things are counterproductive to our sustainable development. A lack of self-leadership is highly counterproductive to sustainable development. You see, the United Nations, they're talking about sustainable development, but, even in the social sense, ordinary sense of sustainability, say, let's take sustainability to mean we act in ways that will create happiness for the generation yet to be born. We cannot act in that way. We know theoretically that is the best thing, but how many of us go about hurting other people, hurting members of our family, hurting our friends? So, if we take sustainability on a social platform, even it doesn't work, except people are taught how to become self-leaders. And the next item here is that self-leadership enables self-management. If you Google self-management on Google Scholar, you see what it entails. And at best, if we are not able to become self-leaders, we should become self-managers. But even self-management is a problem. But if we are situated in self-leadership, these self-leadership learning strategies enable self-management. We are able to manage, ourselves. Post-conventional consciousness. And this is something also very interesting. Post-conventional consciousness means, I know this is wrong, and I don't do it. I say, no, this is wrong, I will not do it. In most cases, people know this is wrong. I remember a case of one teacher. That lady, she was super beauty from Washington State in the United States. And she got, one of our students got attracted to her. And then instead of being in a position to help her, no, she didn't. And so they had started having an affair. And the boy was underage. So she knew that this is wrong, this is bad. And she went to jail for it. And even in jail, when she was given a chance to come out on parole, again, they told her, do not have any contact with this boy. He's a teenager. At that time, the boy was not even up to 15 years. But then, that was the time she became pregnant for the boy. So she knew this is not good. Then they sent her back to jail. So the things that we are talking here, they are just practical things that are transpiring in society. And the idea is that the itemized 6 themes indicated above facilitate academic performance. We need post-conventional consciousness to be able to perform. We need self-management to be able to perform. We need peace of mind to be able to perform. And if you triangulate all of these items with the results from the management literature, you find that these items actually facilitate academic performance. Social change. So, one of the things that I, as a person, learned when I was doing my graduate studies is that what is the implication of your research for positive social change? Okay, do you want to just conduct the research to be able to get a reputation as a big scholar? Or you are having some strategies that will help to create a positive change in society? So this study basically does have positive social change through enhanced management of learning. Also, it enhances significant educational leadership and result-oriented decision-making in the academy. Also, the study results have the potential to promote happiness associated with high performance and achievement of desired academic goals. If you get 4.0 GPA, your happiness knows no bound. Your family's happiness knows no bound because the future is just too bright for you. So you have that invoked happiness as a result of your success, as a result of your performance. And therefore, there is happiness associated with high performance. Antithetically, if someone did not perform, he could be sad or she could be sad, perhaps even depressed. The study results could enhance the social responsibility associated with achievement of high-profile people. You know, when people, and this is very common in India, also in other countries, I know in the West also it's very common. We have people like Bill Gates who go about trying to donating money to this project and that project. In India also people invest their resources, especially finance, in building temples, you know, and helping the poor and all this stuff. Now, if you are not successful, that sense of social responsibility will not be there. If you don't have the resources, if you don't have the money, if we are not able to even fend for ourselves, what to speak of, you know, giving help to other people. So, performance is very important in our daily lives and in our future development. Yes, any comments or questions?
Sir, on behalf of all my student fraternity of Rama University, I'm grateful to you for such insightful session. I must say that actually the kind of leadership you have visualized and shared with us today, if we look at the history, it's actually the supreme personality only who can attain this kind of leadership. Nothing less the path laid down by any such leader. Actually, it ought to be a roadmap for each one of us, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for your wonderful words of encouragement. Any other comments or questions? All right. In the absence of any comments, any other comments or questions, we'd like to adjourn this meeting. And I wish you all, faculty members, deans, and graduate students, undergrad students of Rama University, and anyone else who has joined this program, I wish you all high and successful
Thank you so much, sir, for
leadership.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, Palak.
It has been such an honor to be a part of this expert talk, sir. So, on behalf of Rama University, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Vasudev Swami, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your precious time and amazing guidance. It was very fruitful session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. In the absence of any other comments, we'd like to draw the curtain for today's program. And I wish you all a wonderful and productive week.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sparing your valuable time. Actually, I know it's precious, not only for us, but for people like us across this world, your time is precious.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are very grateful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Hi.